Glad to have you join us again. It's Business Breakfast on iBrandTV. Let's get talking now. Micro, small and medium-sized enterprises have been attributed to be the foundation of any economy globally as they help in job creation, revenue generation for government, amongst others. In Nigeria, MSMEs contribute 48% of national GDP, accounting for 96% of businesses and 84% of employment. This sector contributes significantly to alleviating poverty and increasing job creation. Despite the significant contribution of this sector to the economy, operators in this sector are still fraught with myriad of challenges affecting their business operations and threatening their survival. According to a latest report from the Standards Organization of Nigeria, over 80% of Nigeria-owned MSMEs collapsed after their 5th anniversary. To discuss more on this development as we profile solutions to the lingering challenges faced by MSMEs in Nigeria, I'm now being joined live virtually by two entrepreneurs. Starting with the lady, I have Adebisi Odelaye, who is the founder and chief executive officer of More Organics, and she is also the president of the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, alumni of the U.S. Embassy. And my second guest is Usman Imana, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Friska Farms Limited. Lady and gentlemen, good morning and many thanks for joining us on the show.
Good morning.
Oh, okay, let's begin the conversation with let's begin the conversation with this latest report by the Standard Organization of Nigeria saying over 80% of Nigeria-owned SMEs shut down after 5 years. Let me start with Usman. Usman, over the weekend we had this conversation and I did make mention about this to you and you were giving me some insight as to the challenges being faced by SMEs. Can you also share with our viewers what you think about this development?
So thank you very much. First off, it's not news that the micro and macroeconomics environments are top businesses. Yeah, and I mean we want to sit down and pick the issues that would lead to an SME or MSME or even a corporate shutting down within this period in the last 3-4 years. I mean, we'll talk for a very long time, and we'll probably won't see the end of it. From COVID to I mean, there are just so many hurdles, there are so many challenges, and understandably so. But the truth is, if you do your research and look at
okay, network is playing a fast one on us here, and while we try to reconnect with Usman and while share his own view with us as to some of the challenges that are being faced by MSMEs in the country. Yeah, Usman, we can hear you. Go ahead with your submission. Yes. Usman, you can go ahead with your submission. We can hear you loud and clear.
Hello, can you hear?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead with your submission. Usman, I can hear you loud and clear. I believe you can hear me as well. Okay, if Adebisi can hear me, Adebisi, while we try to reconnect with Usman, I would like to get your view. As a female,
can you hear me?
Yes, Usman, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me as well?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, please go ahead.
So I was saying that if you study, if you look at the history.
Let's quickly take a short breather, and when we return, we try to get the connections right and then have a smooth conversation. It's the Business Breakfast on iBrandTV. Glad to have you join us again. I've been speaking with Usman Imana and Adebisi Adeleye, who are entrepreneurs, and they join me live on the show. Usman, very quickly, let's get your view as to the latest report from Sun about MSME's operation in Nigeria.
Okay, so like I was saying, I mean, there are so many factors that can lead to this, and if we start to if we want to discuss them individually, we'll probably be on this call for days and would not be done. But the truth is that is on one hand, and is the reality that we face. But the truth is that if you study companies, organizations that have stood the test of time, there's none of them that has had a path to success that has been linear. There has always been challenges from the multinationals, from the international organizations, even the local organizations, the local corporates that we have. Every company has its challenges. In my opinion, really, and I was talking, and this I got from a VC that I was speaking to some weeks ago, and they were talking about how a lot of VC investments, even in tech startups, they've had VC investments have reduced because of a lot of startups that have raised funds and they've not been able to go to market or reach profitability, and they shut down. And one thing they've come to realize is that the success or longevity of an organization is dependent on the entrepreneur. There are always 1,001 reasons to shut down. It takes a lot of tenacity, and it's even double of that in the environment that we find ourselves. So, regardless of macroeconomic conditions, the stats you have all over the world, even in America, the statistics for businesses that start and last for 10 years is almost the same globally, right? So that just tells you that yes, the economic environments play a role, but a more important role is played by the entrepreneur itself, because that staying power, that grit, that tenacity is what differentiates, is what sets entrepreneurs apart. People have lost all their money and lost their businesses and gone back to reinvent themselves. People have started businesses and have seen that idea is not working, and they pivoted to other industries. So it's not new.
Okay.
There are microeconomic environments that that make it easy, make it difficult for businesses to continue.
Okay.
It is entrepreneurs, visionary entrepreneurs and founders will always find a way to keep moving.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that insight and your submission. Let me come to Adebisi. Adebisi, as a female entrepreneur, how's the journey been for you, and how have you been able to navigate the challenges of doing business in a volatile environment like Nigeria?
Thank you very much, Lesson. I totally agree with what Usman said. And as a female entrepreneur, it comes with another level of stress, as it is, another level of challenges, because the way a woman would handle business is from the way a man is going to handle business when it comes to even tenacity, approaching financial institutions, and all of those things. Men are known to be people that take things by the horn, while women, sometimes we think about it, we think through things. And as a business woman or an entrepreneur in Nigeria, it has been tough, but we've been graceful about it. And if you see anybody, and I'm saying this also to people that are listening to us, online, if you see anybody that is into business, no matter the number of years, just know that that person is brave. And if the person stays up to 5 years in a place like Nigeria, that person is not just brave. That person is fearless, is courageous, is terrific. And please, such kind of people, don't price their products. Let's even go from there. Give them a hug, squeeze money in their hand. Because when you look at the challenges that we face, from the registration to certifications, for me, I'm in manufacturing, I'm into beauty and skincare. So you think of all the registration, then you think of NAFDAC and all the certifications and approval that you need to get. Then you also know that government policies are not, it's in a corner looking at you. There is the stress of licenses from state government, from local government that just comes to your door to knock on your door. And one of the things that, example with the licenses that comes to mind is, as a member of Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, one of the women reached out to me recently and told me, she was just ranting, Because for the past few days, we've been calling our members to just know how they are faring, especially this period, looking at the increase on all sides. She called and she was like, President, I'm just on my way from Shomolu. I went to print boxes because, I mean, she exports her products. She went to print boxes and then policemen stopped down the way to tell her that where's the permit to carry boxes. And in her head, she's like, hello, I use my money to print boxes in bulk so that, you know, the cost of production can be a little bit reduced. Why are you stressing me again, aside from all the licenses that I pay to the local government? There's also the fact that you want to be in an association where you have, you know, different information. And yeah, there are different associations, especially women associations again. You have to pay to be members of these associations, apart from maybe like a place like Academy for Women Entrepreneurs. You know, there is also the knowledge gap. We have, for me, I've been able to, I've been blessed, let me use the word, I've been blessed in terms of the way I handle my business. Looking at how I started, the business started with 500 naira in 2016, but just towards the beginning of that, towards the middle of 2016, I got a World Bank scholarship to go to Enterprise Development Center. That kind of put me in perspective, you know, on how to run a business. Because another thing is there's a problem with knowledge gap in Nigeria. Some people know the craft, but they don't know the business side. So I was able to, you know, acquire some knowledge, came back to my business, implemented, and, you know, then I got into Academy for Women Entrepreneurs as well. Learned a lot of things, got my first business grants from there, and then I began to scale up. So a lot of things are the challenges, but I don't think that it is something that is not workable if you are in the right, you have the right set of people around you, you have the right mentors. I'm sure you'll be able to scale through.
Okay, so yeah, so Usmana, let me come to you now. When we talk about building sustainable business, a whole lot needs to be involved. And you have been doing business for, I believe, for over a decade now. And for a young entrepreneur actually watching and listening to you now, what kind of strategy should MSMEs adopt in order to build sustainable business and stay in business despite challenges?
Okay, so I think first off, it starts from I'll call it the DNA of the business, right? I was watching a video on social media that a lady was talking about, you know, it based on, you know, adding value. So the business on its own, whatever business you're trying to start, or whatever enterprise, it needs to come from, you need to understand why you are doing what you are doing. You don't just go into business, start a business for the sake of starting. There must be a problem that you're solving. The best businesses are the ones that understand the problem that they are solving, who they are solving it for, and understand what and how much the people that they are solving it for are willing to pay. Right? So for you to run a sustainable business, there must be a problem that you understand. You know the why of what you are solving the problem, and you know how the target audience wants that problem to be solved. Once you have that, you are on path to a sustainable business. Then, of course, the resources that you need to put that solution in place must be less than what people are willing to pay for it. In other words, there must be a healthy margin, right? So if you are using 100 naira to produce to create that solution that people are asking for, it can't be sold at 80 naira. It means that you are running at a loss. There needs to be a healthy margin for you to have a sustainable business, right? Then the third thing is for you to be able to put a system in place that can create that solution, large enough quantity of that solution for people, and then sell. So a lot of people, you know, they are so into their solution that they believe that, you know, that once I have this product, people will come and buy. The problem that I see with a lot of SMEs, a lot of businesses, is that they've not put a system of budget in place for marketing and sales. They just produce and expect the customers to come and pick up. Even if you have the cure to COVID, there's a level of marketing that you need to do to, you know, to get that product out. And
okay.
I mean, there are a lot of tips, but I just want to make it very, very short for the purpose of, for sake of time.
Okay.
The other thing is to always listen to the customer. always have an open mind.
Okay.
Don't build a product and think that you have built for life.
Okay.
The customer need is going to continue to change, so you have to continue to listen and configure your solution to suit the way the customer wants to be serviced. So your product has to continue to evolve. As you have a marketing budget, you also need to have a budget for R&D, research and development, because customers' behavior and customers' need will continue to change. So you need to evolve with time.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You continue to improve on your offering in line with the changing needs of the customer.
Okay.
You are going to be a sustainable business. Look at all the businesses that have stood the test of time. You'll see that the product that they started with, there's been multiple improvements along the line, but they are still solving the same problem.
Okay.
But they are tweaking their solution to meet the changing demands of the customer's behavior. For me, I mean, that's how you ensure that your business is sustainable over time.
All right, thank you so much for that submission. Let me come to our DBC now. DBC, if I heard you clearly, you said you started your business with 500 naira, and today it has grown to become a huge business that is currently employing a lot of people. Funding, most people will say, most aspiring entrepreneurs will say that funding is actually key for them to start their business, and the reason they've not started is because they don't have fund. We'll understand now that without fund, you can do little or nothing to start a business. So I want to throw this question at you. Is fund the critical thing to start to put in place before starting a business, or that mindset or that willpower to start something and see it through?
So I'm going to start from this. Yes, I started with 500. So funding is important. I mean, funding is the oxygen and the blood of any business that is going to thrive. Funding is key. However, funding should not be the first thing. Okay. I know this might not sound right to some people's ear. Funding should not be the first thing. Because if funding is the first thing, where is the playground where you thrive your idea? Where you see if it is scalable. Because I mean, if I had $1 million when I started my business, maybe I wouldn't have made the mistakes that I made. So I started small. I started with 500 naira. I made 1,000. Then from 1,000 I made 2,000. From 2,000 I made 4,000. At the point I made 4,000, I added 1,000 to it and used 5,000 to buy shea butter. And then from 5,000 I made 10,000. By the time I finished spending the 10,000, because I wasn't incurring any cost at that time. I was just getting the raw materials. Whenever my mother-in-law was coming to Lagos, she just brings the shea butter to me, and I just sell it that way. There was no branding, no packaging, just as it is in the label, in the nylon pack. That's how I just sold it. But at some point, it got to a point where I had shea butter in my trunk, my car boots, and the sun was very wicked that the shea butter melted. And when I opened, the boots of the car to sell, I realized that everything is lost. And that was when I decided I was going to start branding. I was going to get containers, get a graphic. That was even when I remember that, my brother is even a brand communication person. Please help me design something. That was when I started putting seriousness. And the funny thing, the first 100,000 I made in the business, I blew it up because I felt, okay, I am going to Shomolu right now to go and print my labels, and I want to print in bulk so that at least the cost of labeling is going to go to about 15 or 20 naira per leaf per sticker. But unfortunately for me, I did not do due diligence in terms of checking that there was no typographical error in it. There was no address on the label. So I lost 100,000. The first 100,000 I made in the business. Imagine if I had 1 million at that time. That was how I would have lost that money. I would have lost that money. So funding is important. However, before you say you really need funding, ensure that you understand what you're doing. You know your target audience, like Usman rightly said. You know how they want, to be approached. You understand their lifestyle, and you know what entices them. So funding is quite important, but that is not the first thing. Your idea, how workable it is, how scalable it is, are things that you should think of. And of course, funding shouldn't be just only in form of money. I mean, there are other sources of funding. Funding can come from raw materials. It can be equipment. That is still part of funding. And I think that is quite important as well to look at. when you are looking at funding, not just the money, the liquid cash. Liquid cash is important, but funding can come in other ways.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that submission. But, lady and gentlemen, unfortunately, we have to go now. But before we go, in 30 seconds, Usman, what is the outlook of the Nigerian SME market for this year, and what should government be doing? 30 seconds as we wrap up this segment of the show.
I didn't get the question.
In 30 seconds,
said-
what is the outlook of the MSME sector for this year, 2023, and what should government be doing to support this sector?
Okay, so for me, I think that, based on so far the reforms that have been made are in the right direction, and we just hope that the execution is done properly. One thing that excites me as a manufacturer is the floating of the naira. I'm not really, and I speak for myself, not really too crazy about exchange rates being low, because that doesn't support local manufacturing. It only supports consumption. I think that where we are now, we are in a position where we are able to compete, right? Because everybody importing is bringing in products at the right FX price. So we are able to produce and compete, and it also helps us with exports. I mean, as an entrepreneur, you can't help but be optimistic, right? So I'm optimistic of the outlook. I think that, if we continue at this pace, all things being equal, and if government can, try and put up some program to help multiple taxation, registrations, and the likes, and also help with some kind of funding for manufacturers.
Okay.
That in 2-3 years' time, we'll have a lot of SMEs and a lot of services. So the outlook is positive.
All right. Thank you so much, Usman. And I also like to say a big thank you to Adebisi Adeleye. I've been speaking with two amazing entrepreneurs who are defiling their heart and sustaining business. Adebisi Adeleye is the Chief Executive Officer, More Organics, and also the President of the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs Alumni of the United States Embassy. And also Usman Imani, my very good friend, the Chief Executive Officer of Friska Farms Limited. Gentlemen and lady, I'm so sorry we had a short time, but definitely again, we're still going to have you guys have to look at a broader aspect of this conversation. But for now, this is the much time can permit. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, coming up on the program, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria has called on the government to cancel its planned hike in the cost of electricity tariff, or else they will shut down their operations. Want to know why? Find out after this time out. Do stay with us.